What's going on, y'all? Your boy Mav bringing you guys a brand new series. Actually, it's kind of an old series, reincarnated, but called something different. If you're like a OG of the OS of the G's to Daily Dose, you know that the series actually started with me just ranting about random stuff every day. And it probably wasn't that random, because I was actually taking questions from you guys. You guys would send me questions and I would answer them. And it was pretty cool, man, because you guys were getting a lot of value out of it, to the point where some of you guys don't even like the new Daily Dose. I mean, you like it, but you like the old way better. So now we're going to do both. Alright, so we have Daily Dose, which the evolved form, right, which is the daily vlogs. And this will just be the rant series, where you guys can ask questions, get at your boy, and I'll give you guys my 2 cents. So if you have a question that you want answered, shoot your boy an email. I don't know what the email will be, but it'll be on the screen. Probably in the description too. So just to kind of recap and give you guys expectations for this series, mostly it'll probably be just answering questions from you guys. Sometimes I might have a topic that I want to talk about that I already know, and I just rant about it, right? The reason I'm calling it a rant series for anyone that might be new is you ask me the simplest question and I talk forever on it. And weirdly enough, some of you guys get value out of that. So some of you guys enjoy the rants. Obviously, this won't be for everybody. It'll probably be one of those things where every episode might not do a whole lot for you. You know, some things, this series won't be everything to everybody, because some episodes might really hit on something that you're struggling with, or I might have 2 cents that you love and that it helps you on. Another episode you just might not apply to you, or you might not agree with it. So it's definitely something you should expect. Something else you need to know, which I kind of already said, but I just want to say it again, is that I'm extremely long-winded. So there probably won't be any point in history of everism where I just get to the point. I'll probably bounce a little bit of everywhere and then I'll get to the point, or you'll have to connect the dots. But for some people it'll make sense, and I'll hopefully bless them. But overall, I hope it's a good time, man. I don't really consider myself super qualified to answer like crazy questions. I definitely won't answer anything that I don't think I have any kind of understanding. I'm not just going to answer a question to answer it. Definitely humble enough to know that there's a lot of stuff I just don't know, so I ain't gonna front. But if I feel like I got 2 cents, you know, I'll kick it. And like I said, you guys are getting value before. Hopefully I haven't ran out of good things to say, and I can maybe help some of you guys. I kind of want to give you guys like my story, you know, just I don't know, some of the different things I've been through. I feel like I've been through a lot that qualifies me to talk about some things, and I've experienced a lot. I failed at a lot. I probably failed at more things than most people that you know, especially my age. Your boy's 26 right now, so I kind of want to give you guys like the overview of my life, just some of the details. But I think it just makes sense. I like to share things when there's value in it, right? Specific value. Of course, it'd be value just for y'all to know everything about me and creep on me, but nah. I think as you guys send questions and it may touch on a certain aspect, I might share a part of my life for this, and that. That's kind of what I did last year, and I'm just not good at just being put on the spot and just telling you guys about myself. So again, feel free to use the email. Alright, you 100%, I will not answer every question, because I did this last time. I was getting thousands upon thousands, alright, hundreds a day, and we were probably half the size of what we are now. So yeah, just know I won't be able to get to all of them. I probably won't go in order. I'll just scroll through. I'll pick some good ones. I might read yours, and I might not feel like either A, I can answer it, B, that I want to answer it, or C, that it's what I want to include in for that episode, you know. So I just, you know, send it, and we'll see. Alright, no promises. So let me start with probably 2 FAQs. Alright, frequently asked questions that I get. I would say probably one of the biggest ones I get is, what books do you recommend for X, Mav, or for this? What would you recommend if I want to do this? Because a lot of you guys know that your boy loves to read. All right, let's turn this light on. Y'all know I'm pigmentally challenged. So let's come look at some of my books. So here's your boy's book collection. These are like my physical copies. Kind of see it. This is all the books I have. I mean, I have like a lot of books just like scattered around. There's some like by my bed, there's some on all the desks, but this, for the most part, this is all I own of like physical books. I probably have half of what you see here in like audio books on something like audible.com or just on my hard drive. And I probably have like a quarter of this in the form of like courses, online courses that I bought. Yeah, man. One of my favorite quotes, I believe is by Jim Rohn, might be by someone else, but it says that formal education will make you a living, but personal education or personal development will make you rich, right? I think there's power in that, and not even just for the sake of being rich. It's I think that's the best way to learn, man. I don't think college, you know, is bad. Low-key, I think it's the devil. I'm just saying, for me. But I'm that, if you've been rocking my channel for a while, you guys know that I will argue anybody and their mama that argue with them if they think that college is for everybody, man. And I don't just say that because I did 1 year and dropped out. I legitimately believe that. I don't think it's bad for everybody. I think for some people, for what they want to do and just their upbringing and personality, it makes sense and they should go to college. But you know, I think we're doing a lot of people a disservice by telling them that they should go to school, get a job, be successful, because that doesn't work for everybody. But yeah, man. So I am like a knowledge addict. By no means have I read all of this. You know, anytime I get recommended a good book or I hear of a good book, I just buy it. But yeah, I've invested. Yeah, if we ask my wife, I don't know, probably like hundreds of thousands. It's a lot, guys. I buy a lot of books, a lot of courses. The courses that I've easily paid more on like online courses, learning different things, than I would have if I would have finished college. Easy. Shoot, I think the most we paid for something was $25,000 to be like, it was a program that I paid for. Y'all see people in my comment section like, Mav ain't got no shoe game, Mav ain't fresh. Ninja, this shirt's from Walmart. Fluff you. It's just, I don't know, I'm just weird. That's not like my priority. I get way more excited, like, dude, like buying these, oh god dang. But like buying these, man, makes me so much happier, and I get more excited than like when I bought those shoes the other day. I don't know, man. It's just me. The question I get all the time is, Mav, can you recommend a good book? Just that on its own is a tough question, because it's a book on what? There's only one book that I just recommend for just overall dope-ness-ticism of life, and that's the Bible. So you're like, man, you got a good book for me? Yeah, Ninja, read the Bible. But if you're just like, yo, just this overall book I gotta read, not really, man. And what's crazy is a lot of people have their like 1 or 2 books. Not me. Not me. Maybe on like a specific subject, if you ask, I might have something for you. But for the most part, I think if you're trying to read just like one book that's gonna drive it home and bring everything together and make you motivated and make your booty stop itching and make you do all this, I think you're playing yourself. You should commit and just try to make reading a lifestyle. Try and read as much as you can. So don't just be like, what's that one book? Be like, yo, just read any book. All right, Google the best book. Like, don't be like feeling like you gotta get the perfect book. Just read a book, and if it's dope, cool. If it's not, toss it. Get another one. You know what I mean? Just be reading. That's what I say. But I thought I'd scan through real quick, find some of my favorites, and you know, shout them out. Oh, jeez, I'm black. Major heads up that I forgot to say, which I really should have said this. With a lot of my advice, or just a lot of my life, all right, your boy's a Christian, dedicated Christian. It's not gonna change, okay? So you guys might ask for certain advice. I don't live a life where I can like I don't have like a Christian filter that I can just like pull off and answer it as if I wasn't a Christian. So some of the advice will be from that perspective, okay? I'm not some over spiritual Christian to where you're like, man, what shoes should I get? I'm like, you should pray and meditate to the Lord and let the Holy Spirit guide you. I'm just like, Ninja, pick something that's fresh. So I'm not that over spiritual, right? A lot of these books aren't, you know, anything, everything is here isn't, you know, biblical or spiritual or, you know, Christian book. But if you do have a question for me and my answer is legitimately something that has a Christian perspective for the answer, that's what I'm gonna give you. All right, so just so you know now, there won't be no, you know, all right, I'm not a Christian for this question. That's all I got for you. All right, that's all I got for you. Okay, dope books. This one is probably one of my favorites. It is a Christian book, but what's crazy, I can see how if you weren't a Christian, you can get a lot out of this. But it is The Purpose and Power of Authority by Dr. Miles Monroe, probably one of my biggest spiritual mentors. I was almost more sad when he died than when my actual dad died. It's crazy. And a lot of you guys that follow Daily Dose, you guys know about my dad, mine and my dad's relationship. But yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is a short read, Managing Oneself, by Peter Drucker. This is good on just kind of like being real with yourself and realizing your pros or your strengths and your weaknesses and just really moving forward. Like this, yeah, this is a good solid one. Like if someone just like, yo, like a good starter book, this is a good one because it's small, quick, no fluff, and straight to the point. Honestly, all these books are dope, man. It's so hard. This is one I actually shared with you guys before, I think on Daily Dose. This one is called Deep Work by Cal Newport. It really kind of revolutionized the way that I work on my channel. You know, it just really talks about not just, Ninja Juice needs to read this. It's about necessarily not having to stay up to 5 a.m. to get stuff done. Maybe only work 4 hours a day, but you go deep with your work so you're more productive and you're more efficient. You get more done. So Deep Work, anyone that feels like they're busy, overwhelmed, but they're not ever really getting a whole lot done, check this one out. Die Empty by Todd Henry. This is a good one. You know, they say that the most wealthy place on earth is the graveyard because it's full of so many inventions that were never made, so many businesses that were never started, just so many ideas that were never capitalized on. So everybody just takes these awesome things to the grave. And this is about just living to your fullest and really making sure that when you die empty. If you've read a whole lot of personal development books, this isn't like crazy, but if you're just starting out, it's pretty good. This is a good one for I don't know how many marketers I would have here. I got a lot of marketing books. I don't know if I'll go like business specific. If y'all want more stuff like that, let me know. We'll save that one. Think and Grow Rich. This is a classic. A lot of people, you talk about like personal development, a lot of people are gassed up about this book like it's just the greatest ever. It's definitely dope. It ain't like the greatest to me, but it's a very good starter book too. Really just about shaping your mind, because your subconscious is so powerful, man. And I mean, even the Bible tells us, you know, as a man thinketh, right? And this kind of gets to, this was really one of my first introductions on like just really starting to think right. So it literally is about Think and Grow Rich. So yeah, check it out. Oh, this was a good one. Willpower, Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength, by Roy F. Baumeister and John Tierney. I hope I'm saying that right. Willpower. This one's good. They basically they really break down willpower, and they got a lot of cool studies in here, and they just kind of talk about how willpower isn't what we think it is, and how you really have a limited amount of willpower, and there's things that you do that really drain your willpower. So it has you more aware of how you go through your day, and you're more aware of the things that you do and the reason why you do things and why your willpower may be weak in a certain area, whether it's dieting or whatever. This is like a real scientifical, like dang, that makes sense. I didn't know. I didn't even realize that. It's actually crazy. So yeah, this is a good one. There's some other good ones, some classics that I'm not seeing. I don't know where they're at. Oh, see, I almost probably like this one more than Think and Grow Rich, Psycho Cybernetics. This is actually on YouTube for free. I believe it's like, it's 6 hours or 7 hours. I think it's the new Psycho Cybernetics is what it's called. It's on YouTube. That was the first time I actually read this. I listened to it on YouTube because I was too broke to afford it. I couldn't afford all these books. So I listened to it for free. And that thing changed my life a lot. So, yeah, check that out. Yeah, there's actually some I'm missing, man. They're probably laying around somewhere. But yeah, those are some ones that get you started. Oh, this is a good one. The Richest Man in Babylon. This is a really good way to approach your finances. A lot of people that ask me, they're like I had a guy write me on Twitter the other day, and he asked if I knew a good book on like stocks. And my question that I asked back was like, you know, how much you had to invest, and he said probably about $30, which is cool. You got to start somewhere, right? But stocks, you should not be looking into stocks if you only have $30. It's not like you don't go into stocks with $30 and then get rich. That's just, you know, that's not how that works. But The Richest Man in Babylon will kind of teach you very like fundamentals of money, because there are fundamentals to making money, saving money, keeping money, and making more money. I have no clue where my camera cut off, but I know it cut off in the middle of me talking about this. This is just a good book for your money. All right, teach you a lot of good principles. That'll, especially if you have like, you're starting with nothing. It is actually kind of in like a story form, and I might be remembering some of the details wrong, but like if you're someone that's like broke, going from nothing, this probably could be a good book to read, maybe try and get your finances right, because it really walks you through and gives you some really solid principles that'll have you starting to make a little bit of money, and then saving that money, knowing how to save it, and then knowing how to, you know, the decisions you need to make with that money to bring in more money. Now, it's not like a step-by-step, like get a job here, do this. It's not like that, but it's principles, fundamentals of money that is smart. You should read this. Another good one for like finances is Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a really good one. Yeah, man. So that's a good place to start. So this episode is gonna be a little bit different, obviously, because I spent time doing that. But going on to another frequently asked question that I have, and I was actually going through my old email, the ReachiMav@gmail.com, the original ones you guys are sending questions to. So we'll probably stick with that one. If you have questions, send it there. And there are so many on starting a YouTube channel. Advice I have on that. I'll be brief because I answer this a lot, but this would be cool to have a place to send someone if they ask again. Advice on starting a YouTube channel. One, make sure that you're legitimately passionate about doing it, because if you're talking about going from like starting a YouTube channel to getting to where I'm at, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of times where you're going to want to quit, and if it's not something you legitimately want to do, maybe you're just doing it for the money, that won't be enough to keep you here. I promise you. Promise you. So make sure, and I'm not saying you can't do it for the money, right? Because if I had to do this for free, I wouldn't be doing it, because I have a family to support. So I'm not saying, you know, that money can't be a factor, but if that's the #1 reason, and you know that's really all you care about at the end of the day, it's going to be hard for you. So one, make sure you're passionate about it. If I was being real, I don't think everyone's called to be a YouTuber. So I would really think and pray on it and see if it's something that you think you're really meant to do. I don't think you have to be perfect at it. I think you can be rough around the edges, get better over time, but everyone in the world can't do YouTube. So, and I see a lot of people, I watch their videos, they're just obviously going against the grain. And I want to be nice and be like, just keep trying and keep fighting, and you'll get there eventually. 100%, that's a lie, because everybody can't have 1 million views. Everyone can't have 1 million subs. So I would consider those two things first. If you go over those and you believe you're passionate, you believe you're called, you believe it's something that you really can be good at and you have the skill set for, you just start putting everything into the videos, man. I would, for your first year, I would commit to doing, depending on what niche you're in, like if you're gaming, do a video a day. If you do something that requires more editing or just a lot of work, where you can't do them every day. Maybe it's once a week, whatever. I would commit to it as frequent as you can that would put you at the top of that field as far as uploads, and commit to that no matter what the views look like. Almost as if you're turning views off in your brain. Just do it to the best of your ability. Make a video when you're only going to make it for 10 people that's going to watch it. Do it as if 10 million people are watching it, and do that consistently for a year. You do it for a year, do I promise you'll have 10,000 subs? No, but you will grow a lot. You'll build a lot of character, and that on its own is worth a dang college education. You're gonna have to dig deep, and you're gonna learn a lot about yourself, and you're gonna grow a lot as a person. So do that, and if it's still something that you're still passionate, right, you still should do it. Sign up for a second year, and then as you go, experiment, man. Tweak different things. Success definitely leaves clues, so look at other people that are successful, you know, and try to loosely model it. Don't ever copy no one. You know, there's no other way to be I Maverick. You just can't. But you can see some of the things that I do that might have been successful when you can model it. That's the fastest way from point A to point B, is to model somebody. So I would definitely do that. And if you're staying consistent, you have the talent, you have the passion, and you're putting a lot of time and energy into it, the cream tends to kind of start rising to the top. And then there's more technical things like finding collabs, but you always want to collab with someone that's parallel with you, or a little bit up or a little bit down. You can't jump too high. So if you're just starting out, you shouldn't be asking to collab with myself. You should be asking to collab with someone else that's just starting out. Once you get your first 1,000, look to collab with someone else that's around 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000, and you guys do these sub swaps. You guys collab, and you guys shout each other out, and you kind of leverage that. So you go from 1,000 doing collabs to 5,000. You find a new batch of 5,000ers, you collab, you go to 10, and the same thing all the way up. And yeah, man. And then, you know, look into, you know, I have a lot of books up there on copywriting. Some of you guys don't realize all the stuff that goes into writing titles, and stuff like that. Again, there's stuff you can work on with your social media presence, but all of that is second to those core things that I kick to you. So that's my advice for starting a YouTube channel and hopefully being successful. Okay, now this next part, I'm kind of like combining like 3 different emails I saw because they're similar, and it's something that I think I created. You know what I mean? I guess there's nothing completely new under the sun, but this is something that I put my own twist on, we'll say. And I think it'll help a lot of you guys out. Now, I haven't come up with a super duper official name, title, but we'll call this the 4 phases of freedom. Some wifey and I kind of stand on in what we would call like the tabletop, like the 4 pillars or the 4 legs of a table that you need to have a balanced, happy, successful life. You knock out these 4 phases, you're pretty close to living a life of freedom. All right, not bogged down by stress, anxiety, stuff like that. I'm not saying life will be perfect or that your life will be easy. I don't know that that's possible. I don't know that life is ever easy 100% of the time. But these are the 4 phases you need to master. Number 1, and it's the acronym. All right, so just think of free. All right, F-R-E-E. The F stands for faith. The R is for relationships. The first E is for energy, and the second E is for economics. You get those 4 things down, you'll live a pretty happy and balanced life. So let's talk about it. Faith. What is that? For most people, it's going to be religion. It doesn't have to be religion, but basically it's just having faith in something bigger than yourself. Okay, that's where we get our purpose from. What really gives life meaning. If you don't have any kind of purpose, you're really just molecules in motion, and you're gonna have a lot of big questions in life. And it's like, why are you here? That's probably one of the biggest questions we need to answer. And when you do answer that, that solves a lot of things. And a lot of these questions that I'm gonna read here have to do, and I'm gonna summarize them, but they have to do with anxiety, depression, loneliness, confusion in life. And once you answer that, a lot of that stuff goes away. Not every time and not always, but that's the best start in my opinion. So that's faith. The next one is R for relationships, and that starts with the relationship with yourself. What are the things that you say to yourself? Loving yourself. That's one of the hardest things to do for people. and I've even struggled with that. But it's not just yourself. Obviously, you want to have strong relationships outside of yourself, whether that's with your friends, your family, significant other. So relationships, very, very important. The first E is energy. Now, we can also use health, another word, but I feel like when your health is on point, how does it manifest? And just energize, man. And when you're sick and you're not very healthy, you feel like the energy sucked out of you. You don't really have that. So energy, that's just our battle for our mental health, our physical health, and that's through diet, exercise, all that. And the last E is economics. You know, being financially literate. Now, that doesn't mean being rich. It just means understanding money. Now, not loving money. People think that sometimes people think that the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. That's not the case. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. So it's okay to have money, you just can't have money having you. And I think it's important to understand it. And again, you don't have to be rich, but just understanding how it works, maybe how to get it, how to manage it, how to use it, because it's a very big tool in life. And so you want to understand it. So as you guys see me answer a lot of questions throughout this series, you'll see me touching on those 4 different areas: faith, relationships, energy, and economics. And when you know, and maybe assess your guys. Maybe that'll be question of the day. Everyone in the comment section, take the freedom test, we'll call it, right? Rate. So you could put F for the first F. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Where would you rate yourself as far as your knowledge, your understanding, your mastery of your faith? And then R, how would you rate your relationships? E, your energy. And then the second E, how would you rate your understanding of economics? All right, 1 through 10 for all of those, the freedom tests. But what you'll notice is if you have even just one really low score, you'll have imbalance, and you'll have that that void in life. I try not to say that there's no real order of them, but as a Christian, I'd be lying if I didn't think that faith was the best place to start, especially for me, because I believe in a heaven and I believe in a hell, and I would never want anyone to go to hell. That's like being at a barbecue where you're the meat, right? So that wouldn't be love if, you know, with what I believe, I didn't tell you that. So, but the other 3 are very, very important as well. So with those 4 areas of life in consideration, I'm going to kind of skim through some of these questions that I got and give an answer that relates back to that system. So one of my dudes here, and I appreciate you guys, man, y'all are sending me some deep stuff. I remember going through this email last year and literally crying. Just some of the stuff that you guys have been through and the stuff you're willing to share with me is crazy. So my dude here, I won't say names, but 25 from Cleveland. 5 years ago, his father lost his job, got diabetes, put in a retirement home. So he really says, you know, his mother doesn't talk to him. He has no family, very few friends. And even though he's turned his life around in some aspects, other areas are falling apart. The girl he had for 8 years left because he didn't have the time for her. He has to fight feelings of wanting to reconnect with his mom, but she's done terrible things that an email cannot describe, as I live every single day on the verge of giving up, because the only people who truly loved me and cared for me the only person that truly loved for him and cared for him was his father, but he's gone. He fights every day to continue on, but he wonders sometimes why he fights. Again, he's 25. He has no family and feels like he's becoming an old and lonely soul. If I have any advice, it would be much appreciated. P.S. I'm a Catholic and I was raised in an Italian family, and I've always thought I had a good relationship with God, but with everything being ripped away from me, I have lost much faith. You're the best. I watch your videos every night after my long days, and it's nice to see such a beautiful family. Thank you for your time, fam. That's heavy. So I do want to touch on one thing that we see in this email. You see how he said he was doing great in one area, the other areas were falling apart, and it's obviously drove him to the point where, you know, he even wanted to write this email. So that's why we can't just be good in one area. And it's great as a Christian, right? Let's say just the faith was on a 10, 1,000, million, trillion, going to heaven, living eternity. That's great. That doesn't mean we just still want to be so eternally minded with no earthly good. You don't want to live a life with horrible relationships, horrible health. You're not going to have a good time here. All right. So we got to have that balance, man. And that's what you see. I think it was his finances that he turned around. I might have to go back and read it, but you know, he said he did good in one area, but the other ones weren't so well, and he just wasn't able to handle that. You know, his relationship with his mom is struggling, and that's eating at him. And he says because of all this, he's lost. You know, he's losing his will to fight, and he wonders, you know, why does he fight? I think it's important for my dude to understand is that he's not alone, and that's not uncommon to feel like that. So don't feel like that even for a second. I do want to point out that sometimes when we go through a lot of things, we think that God's the one doing it to us. Like God's just, you know, just throwing these different things at us. And that's not the case. God allows certain things to happen. But despite all the things that go down, one of my favorite verses to stand on is Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And what that means is that, man, when you join that winning team, man, and you keep your faith, God, what someone might mean to hurt and harm you and be for bad, gotta flip it. And these circumstances and situations that you go through that you think might break you might be what actually ends up building you in the long run. And it's very important to keep faith. And sometimes we get sidetracked and we actually forget what the definition of faith is. And the Bible even tells us. It tells us that, you know, faith is the confident assurance that what we hope for is going to happen. It's the evidence of what we can't yet see. And so if you can see it, then it doesn't take faith, right? Faith is literally walking up a staircase when I can't see the next step, but I'm still walking, and there's no step there, but I'm going to take that step of faith. If I can see the whole staircase, it doesn't take faith, right? And so we go through those times in life. There's pain, there's evil, there's so many bad things that happen as a part of this fallen world that we live in, and that's why we hope, right? And we're excited for the opportunity of heaven, right? Where all of that's gone. But while we're here, there's going to be part of that. There's going to be people that lie, people that hurt, people that are malicious towards us, and bad things will happen to good people. But I think it's important that we remind ourselves to, one, keep faith, and to not turn our back on our sustainer and the person that's actually going to get us through those things, and realize he's not causing them, but allowing them to happen in our lives, sometimes for our betterment, and that he is the key, right? He is the key to turning a mess into a blessing. And there's so many great analogies that I like, and I'll share a couple of them for you just because they never get old. And so in life, you know, we have these setbacks, right? And then it's like a slingshot. We get pulled back, life gets us down. Like my man, family turns on us. We lose loved ones. We have breakups. All these different things that they're these setbacks. It feels like we're getting pulled back, and really that's just the setup for the comeback. Because when we let go, that setback just turns into a catapult that launches us further than we ever could have gone. And another one of my favorites is when I heard, I'm pretty sure this was from E.T. Eric Thomas, not the alien, but it's about the evolution of the golf ball. When they first made golf balls, they were smooth, right? And they had no ripples in them, no dents. And they would hit the golf balls and they would, you know, they'd do their things, but they noticed that after a while, after these golf balls started to take these hits and get these bruises on them and get these dimples in them, they would actually start to go further. So after these golf balls would get beat up a little bit, it would cause them to actually go further when you hit them. So now they just make golf balls with the dimples already in them. And that's what life is like sometimes. Unfortunately, that pain, those bruises, those dimples, those dents that we take, those hits we take right in the mouth, these things that when life smacks us in the face, they hurt. But really they're just shaping us to be the person that we need to be so that God can take us as far as he needs us to go. And know that there's power in that. I mean, I've been through a lot of things. It's had me in tears. It's had me worried. It's had me confused and not understanding. And I look back at it, and I'm so grateful that it did, because it shaped me into the man that I am now, that's leading, and able to reach millions. And all of my trials and my tests, my tribulations, they've given me a testimony that I can share with you guys and use that to empower you, inspire you guys. And that's stuff that I wouldn't have if I hadn't have been through some of those down times. And that's where character is really built. And so I think that those are the main things we got to remind ourselves when we're at our lowest. So instead of losing faith, my man, I like to see you drawing closer. That's what's really going to get you through this. Now, I'm kind of done answering his, but I'm not fully done. I'm going to go into some other questions, because all of the answers kind of intertwine. So this next one is from my dude who's from Australia. He was a rugby player, and season was, or it looks like he was doing really good. He was hoping to go to a professional level, but I tore my ACLs and his MCLs in both knees and had to have 5 surgeries. Goes on to say that I had to end my career as a rugby player, as it's essentially impossible to play again, and this slumped me into anxiety and depression. I lost a lot of my friends, as I would not talk to them, and because I was very angry all the time, because everything I trained for was lost, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Now, I will insert some of my personal story here. I've dealt very extensively with anxiety. I started when I was around 10, I want to say. I'm bad with these dates, and I don't say that because I'm lying. I try not to give you guys too specific, like 9 or 10, because I'm just literally bad at that. So I try not to say it, so I always round it out, because in one video I might say 9, the next video I might say 10. You like Ninja, you lying. No, it was around then. But that's when my anxiety started. There was a lot going on with my family financially. My mom had just had a stroke. My brother was going through some different things. And so as a youngster, my anxiety got bad. It was to the point where I woke up thinking I was gonna die. My mom was calling 911 almost every night. They take me to the emergency room and be like, nothing's wrong with this boy. They wanted to put me on some crazy meds. It got so bad that I was having a really bad panic attack one time, and my dad wouldn't take me. Like, he wouldn't take me to the emergency room. And my mom, who had just had a stroke, almost died, had an aneurysm. She ended up having to drive me to the hospital. Not as she had an aneurysm, but she was recovering from that. Was not cleared to drive. She ended up having to drive me up there. Long story short, I got over it as a youngster. It came back again as an adult, since my wife and I, earlier in our marriage. I mean, it was bad. I would still wake up. I used to hate the nighttime, because that's when they typically would happen. It would happen all times of the day though. But I would hate nighttime, man. And I feel like I was gonna die, man. Just couldn't breathe, heart through the roof. I went to the emergency room a few times. They've done all types of testing. Wanted to put me on medicines, and it was bad. I mean, it's the point where I wouldn't like to go to public places. Like, I wouldn't like to be far, like somewhere if I knew I was gonna be in the hospital. Or if I knew I was going to be far from like a hospital, like I just couldn't do it. That stuff takes over your life. And so I know sometimes when people bring up like anxiety, depression, they feel like some people just don't get it. Nah, I get it. I get it. And so to kind of address on his thing, what we're seeing here with my man that wrote this is, it's like a classic case of you're only going to be as strong as what you have your faith in. Now, unfortunately for him, his faith and self-worth and value was in rugby. So when that was taken away, well, I mean, it's like this. Let's say, here, we'll use this. This is an old refresher. So let's say this is rugby, and this is your self-worth and your value, your purpose, just everything. It's all into rugby. Bam, it's all in rugby. All is well as long as rugby is here. Alright? But what happens if rugby's gone? Well, I just threw out your self-worth, your value, your purpose, everything went out the door with it. You're only as strong as what you have your faith in. Now, what are some other common mistakes? Sometimes we do that with people. You get in a relationship, you see, you have a friend want to jump off a bridge because he broke up with his girlfriend. Everything was put into that girlfriend. Girlfriend's gone, so is his life. And so an assessment you want to put on yourself is, where am I really putting, where am I drawing value from? You struggle with low self-esteem, well, find out what you're putting it in. What are you putting all your stock in? And then once you're aware of that, you can kind of start finding some of the insecurities and some of the issues that you had. You're only as strong as what you put your faith in. Now, seeing that people change, people die, jobs change, people get fired, laid off, it's really not wise, and it's just not smart to put all of your self-worth in a career or a relationship or any kind of person or a celebrity. It's sure not smart to put it in ReachiMav or even the Maverick fam or anything like that. I mean, I would hope this never happens, but I could bump my head and just flip and be a completely different person like some of y'all thought I was when my dang Snapchat got hacked. If y'all didn't know that, my Snapchat got hacked. Dude hacked it and was putting like all kinds of demonic, like evil 666 posts on there. People were like, man, what's going on? Ninja, you stupid. You ain't know I got hacked, bro. Some of y'all should have known off the bat. But anyway, that's a whole nother rant. But even though that's weird and unlikely, it could happen. So you don't want to do that. So to me, the strongest thing you can put your faith in is God. God ain't going nowhere. God ain't dying. God can't change. You're safe. And again, that's the best place I think you can put your faith in. You don't have to believe in God to start being aware of where you're putting your faith. It's just that's just the safest place in my opinion. And when you start drawing your confidence and your beliefs and everything comes from there, it's really hard for you to feel down on yourself, to feel ugly, to feel like you're not worth anything, because God's gonna kick the truth to you. He's gonna let you know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. He's gonna let you know that you are his masterpiece, and that's where you draw your importance from. That's where you get your self-esteem from. That's where you get your confidence from, and that's unmovable. That's unshakable. Now, that doesn't mean you won't care if, let's say, he didn't have all of his faith in rugby. Maybe he had it in God or something else. That doesn't mean he still wouldn't be sad. I mean, tearing your ACL, MCL, that sucks. You'd still be sad. It'd still be painful, still be a recovering process, still be tough emotionally, but you won't be as distraught because everything isn't in there isn't getting thrown out with rugby. Hope that made sense. And this last one is from my dude who's about to be 18 now. At the time he wrote this, he's 17. Got kicked out of school a lot growing up, been in alternative programs, just ended up dropping out. He's a really bad anger problems. He sits at home and does nothing. He doesn't go out a lot because he's uncomfortable with himself and he hates it. He says, I have no drive or interest in any career. I just want to know what to do. Was wondering if you had any advice to help me turn my life around and be a better person and not so negative all the time. But reading my dude's scenario here, it kind of seems like my dude's struggling from like a lack of identity, and he is not the only one. Especially in my time dealing with like youth and youngsters, with my YouTube channel over years, and I volunteer at my church in the middle school and high school ministry, so I see it there a lot. We have so many. We have men that haven't found their true identity, and that's really the big issue. Because it just trickles down, but that's not horrible. I mean, you're young, so you're all over the place, right? You say you don't have no drive, you don't have no motivation, you don't know where you want to go. Obviously, you don't have any purpose, and I don't know that you could just wake up and just be like, oh, this is my purpose. I'm meant to do this. I'm here to do this. I think it's a process, and everyone's process looks a little bit different. So there's no step 1, step 2, step 3 necessarily. But there's some things you could do. For me, I think the fastest and the most effective way, again, from my perspective, to find your purpose is to talk to the creator, right? Talk to the maker. And again, it's from a Christian perspective, right? And if you're just an atheist, you don't believe in God, just entertain this thought for a second. Let's say I was right, okay, and there was a creator, and he created the earth, and he created everything in it. And he set up something you know, prayer and a way that I could have fellowship with him and communicate with him, don't you think it would make sense to get my purpose and find out how I should be maneuvering from the person that made everything, right? That would be the best way. The person that actually put me here. So I think that's the best way. Starting with your relationship with God, and just as a Christian, you find your overall purpose and your generic, and I don't want to say generic, but your purpose for being here, right? As a Christian. But then once you dive deeper and get to know God, you start to find your personal purpose. So of course, as a Christian, we're all called to be ambassadors for Christ and reach the lost, right? We don't want to see people die and go to hell. So that's everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, right? Now, but we all have personal domains and authorities in different areas. As far as I know right now, where I'm supposed to be, mine is on YouTube. Yours may be doing something else, and no one's is better than the other. It's just we all have our own different purposes. And when you have that, there's no one, all right, no one that's fully in tune, has a deep relationship with the Creator and has their purpose, that have the feelings that you described. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, I never have days where I'm not the most motivated. Like he says he has no drive or no interest in any career. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't have bad days where my booty don't itch, stuff like that. Everything isn't easy and rainbows and skittles for me, but just that overall confusion and lack of fire, and an overall sense for life. That's when you have that purpose, you don't struggle with that. So that's the start to things. But I think it's also important to experiment and just try a lot of things out. Become a mad scientist. So if you're in high school, maybe you're in college, beyond, wherever, and you're like, I don't know what career I want to do, get out there. Try every career. You don't know what you want to do, try everything. Get a job everywhere. Try a business, fail everywhere. Try everything. I never knew. Marketing didn't just come to me. I love marketing. That didn't just come to me. I tried network marketing. Well, it kind of came. It was presented to me, right? And I tried it. I was like, hey, let's try it. Network marketing. I didn't really stay in network marketing, but that evolved and it led me to so many different things because I tried it. There was other things I tried that I didn't like. Didn't end up doing them. So my advice is, if you're still trying to figure out where to go, you need to up your experience, man. So when you first start out, you're gonna be crazy. You're gonna be looking everywhere, you know, just trying to find something, and then you kind of realize you don't like stuff like this, so you know to cut everything off this way, and you're kind of just focusing here, and you're just trying a lot of things, and you're like, okay, I'm kind of starting to get somewhere, kind of like a dog that's starting to catch a scent. You're like, okay. Then you start focusing this way, and you go hard there, and you're like, I like that, but not that so much. And then you go from this, and you just slowly narrow it down, and then you're here, and bow. And then you start to find whether it's a career, a passion, whatever. And as you're doing that, if you're talking to the right person and you're getting in tune with things, I think it comes together perfectly. Now again, there's no timetables. I think anyone that's trying to sell you like find your purpose, your reason for being here in 3 easy steps in the next 3 weeks or less, don't believe that crap. Man, that's just my 2 cents, alright? Maybe someone out there got something dope like that. But, you know, I think everyone's time frame and everyone's experience is a little bit different, but that's the gist of it. So I went through 3 different questions right there. Well, 5 if you count the FAQs I did about the YouTube and the books. But those last 3 kind of intertwined, and they all had similar answers, kinda, and they all kind of tied into, you know, different parts of that freedom formula. So I think there's just one thing that you guys mainly take away from this video or this first episode would be that try to become a student, man. Get as many books as you can. Maybe you don't like reading, get audio books. So start there. Number 2, give yourself an assessment, man, with that freedom formula. The F, the R, the E, and the E, man. Faith, relationships, energy, and economics. Grade yourself. Be more aware of those areas. See where you're strong, where you're weak, and look to fix those weaknesses. If you look at it, every single book that I have back there falls under one of those 4 categories. And that's why I like to have a big library, because when I'm slipping in a certain area, I just grab one of those books, man, and it helps. And so to sum things up, man, stay strong as you're going through different things. Remember, God's not making these horrible things happen to you. He may be allowing them, but He's right there with you through it all. Your setback is just a setup for your come up. So don't be discouraged. Remember Romans 8:28, God works out all things. Not just some of them, not a few of them, all things. You are only as strong as what you put your faith in, so be very careful. Be very picky. Alright? Because if you have your faith wrapped up in something, they could just be gone just like that. There goes everything that you put into that. And some of you guys that maybe never even gave a thought towards purpose, why you might be here on this earth. And you know, I think if you're super young, that's not a very important question, but I don't know that you can't start flirting with it, but give it some thought, man, especially if you're older though. Open yourself up to really considering that, why was I here? And then once you start having that purpose, that reason outside of yourself, as a whole, life gets a lot better. So that's it, y'all. We're gonna wrap up episode number 1 of the Rant series. I don't know how often I'm gonna do this. If I'm fired up and I'm pumped up, I might do it every day. Then we might see breaks where it's every week, every once a month. I don't know. We just gonna flow with it. I ain't gonna set myself up for any kind of schedule or requirements. But if you guys did get something out of this, or it did help you, any kind of value in the slightest, please let me know in the comment section, because that's motivation, man. If I know I'm helping people, of course I'm gonna want to do it more. If you have a question, shoot your boy an email. It'll be somewhere on the screen. ReachiMav@gmail.com. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all of the support. And until next time, God first. God bless.